Hey, what's going on, crew? Welcome to another edition of the Clinic Growth Secrets Show. This is your host, Jeff VK. This is the show where we teach you how to get more patients, make more profit per patient, and keep them as long as possible. We're going to get into some hyper valuable stuff today. This is going to be some of the most actionable 20 minutes you've probably had on a podcast in chiropractic in a long while. Before we get into the action, quick reminder, pay the fee. The fee here is quite simple. If you get some value from the show, if our guest brings value, as I know he will today, make sure you hit that share button, share with a colleague, share with a family member who would also get value in their life and inside of their practice. And so it's a great pleasure to welcome Dr. Ryan Warren to the show. Ryan is no stranger to chiropractic success, having not only run a multi-million-dollar practice himself and guiding others to do the same in his coaching company. His unique approach ensures practices grow sustainably and profitably by tailoring the growth to the individual goals. Dr. Ryan, thanks for being here, my man.
Thanks, brother, for having me. Appreciate it.
We're hyped to have you. You have built some practices of your own, okay? You actually have your clinic serves as a training center for chiropractors,
Yes.
as you had shared with me before we got started here today. And so I've always been a believer that you have to do things before you can coach. So can you share a little bit about your own journey in building
Yeah.
your clinic?
Yeah.
Really
I'll give
achieve
you
that
kind of
success.
the Cliff Notes version. I built, first off, I was a part of every coaching program without naming all of them that you can imagine. All the big names out there I've been involved with, been a part of, or been to their stuff while I was a student. And I built I was an associate for a year, and actually a year to the day. And I told that doctor when I got out of school, hey, I'm going to be an associate for 1 year exactly, and then I'm going into my own clinic. And that doctor was like, oh, hey, well, we're going to be building other clinics and we can work something out here or there. And I want to put you in another clinic. Quickly realized he had no plans for me to go into another clinic. He wanted me there as a workhorse because I was really good at getting patients to commit to care, even out of school. And so once I realized that, I realized, hey, I need to go out on my own because all this money that I'm making for another doctor, I could be making for myself. And this isn't the style of practice that I would want to do. Got good experience, learned how to talk to patients, and it was a great experience. But 1 year to the day, I left there and opened my clinic. It was part of a coaching company that was really good, but only got me to a certain level. And it was a sticking point, and I felt like this isn't me. I'm doing this scripting thing. I'm not being organic. I'm stuck at this level. I don't want to practice this way. It's not me. It's not what I enjoy. And so I said, all right, screw this. I'm going to start doing my own thing and being organic and being a good doctor. And all of a sudden, I went from that $50,000 sticking point to like well over 100,000 a month, almost overnight. No exaggeration. So I built that clinic. It was only 1,400 square feet, me and 3 girls, and collecting well over 6 figures a month with a very tiny overhead. And we did that in 36 months. So really quickly. And that's not to be braggadocious. What I mean is once I got the good basis of how to run a clinic from different coaching companies. But what I didn't get is I want to make this clinic a Ryan Warren clinic and not I don't know why it's doing that.
That's awesome.
I don't know why. I'm telling you, I'm on Zoom with people, and like if I do a thumbs up, there'll be a thumbs up thing.
Yeah,
I
for
don't know
sure.
what setting I have on that does that. But anyways, so I wanted to build a clinic around me that I enjoyed going to by taking those principles and applying them that way. And I started visiting all these millionaire chiropractic offices where the guys that were there were in coaching companies, but they all did different stuff. They all had different clinics. And what I found out very quickly is that they all kind of had baseline principles the same as far as low overhead and staff and systems and social media. And they had a baseline system of stuff, but every office was different. So I realized, okay, my coach is telling me, and the coaches I've been with, it was like, this is how you run an office. And I'm like, well, why are all these offices running different? And they're all slaying it. And they were all in coaching companies, but none of them were doing the scripting that their coach recommended. And so I learned a lot about the history of coaching and where it came from in chiropractic. And it kind of just all came from one place and branched away, and with their own twists on it. And so I said, all right, I'm done coaching. And my first year where I quit coaching, I went well over $1 million that year on my own with my own systems and stuff with that good baseline. Built that office up really quickly. Naturally, people wanted to ask me questions. How do I do this? How do I do that? Hey, how are you doing that? How are you growing so fast? What do you do with staff? And so people were flying into my office. I was on the phone so much every night. My wife was getting upset with me because I'd get off work and then I'd be on the phone till 10 o'clock at night doing consulting calls with people. And I was just doing it for free because I absolutely love chiropractic business. I love it. I wake up in the morning. I eat, breathe, sleep, drink, go to the bathroom, chiropractic business. That's my life. I love it. Okay. And I got to the point where I was like, I'm really good at this. And so all these offices that I'm telling them what to do, they're having incredible results. So I think there's something too. So I think I need to start doing this. So I started looking to a way to slow down and go into coaching and consulting full time. Lo and behold, things don't happen by chance. Two guys come in from down the street and they say, hey, I want to buy your clinic. My clinic is pretty high level. It makes a lot of money. It's very profitable. So I go, guys, I'm not going to sell it for anything less than this. It's a pretty egregious number. And they say, no problem, done. So I said, that's the sign that I need to go coaching and consulting full time. And I believe in that short of time, that was probably the biggest, most profitable clinic sale that there's ever been because of how profitable it was and how short amount of time. You usually need a lot of numbers for a lot of time to really get a good value on your practice. So I started coaching and consulting full time for a year, realized that I also missed practice. And then we had our first event and I worked out a deal with the guys that bought my office to do the first event there. Well, it was shoulder to shoulder in 1,400 square feet. So I was like, I need a building. I also kind of want to practice again too, or maybe find one where I could run it just because I love practice too. Found a building, I found a practice for sale outside of my non-compete, of course, with the other guys. And I called the guy that was selling. I said, but I really want the building. He goes, I'd love to sell the building too. And I went, perfect. 6,000 square feet. I've got a huge practice that runs in here where we do all sorts of cool stuff. And then I also do my training and my seminars here as well. So it doubles as our training facility. So that's the Cliff Notes too, by the way. I know that was a little long, but that is the Cliff Notes.
Oh, that's exceptional. And it's cool to see that it wasn't just like immediately 6,000. A lot of people get screwed. They start a clinic and they immediately have 6,000 square feet of overhead. And now they have this massive overhead bill. You know what I mean? So you built up to it, which is cool.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
it serves multiple purposes, So I think the lesson there is you can build $1 million in a lot of different ways, but you've done it in a very small square footage kind of on your own terms. You know what I mean? And so I think the next logical thing then becomes is like, what is the style, right? And so there's all kinds of different ways to practice in terms of business model. There's wellness, there's pain-based approach, there's all the stuff in the middle.
Right.
What style are you seeing right now that's perhaps the most profitable and the most efficient?
Well, that's a very, very good question. I've seen it all. I've talked to all of them. And I think right now, what's working well in the market, my opinion, of course, is the chiropractic office that also has spinal decompression as well as shock wave or soft wave. And here's why. You're a chiropractor. You got to do adjustments. Okay. Mm-hmm. You're a chiropractor. So we got the chiropractic adjustments. You also work with the spine that has disc issues. So there's a lot of chiropractors will argue, oh, spinal decompression, that's not chiropractic. Yes, it is. You work with the spine. It has discs in it. It's the most chiropractic thing that there is.
For sure.
So we got to have spinal decompression. The other thing is we have patients walking into our office all the time, and I'm if you haven't caught by now, I'm a little bit blunt of a man, so I do want to be straight up with this. We have people coming into offices all the time with extremity issues, and chiropractors do a terrible job with this. What chiropractors do is, oh, I hurt here. Oh, let me just chicken wing it and pop it. There you go. And that's not what's supposed to happen. We need a good exam, and then we find out it's usually a soft tissue injury. So we have to have some sort of other modality, whether that's laser, shockwave, so on and so forth, so we can help those populations, but also get paid for it. So what I tell my clients and people is that no matter what walks into your office, musculoskeletal, you should have something that should be able to take care of it. And I think that model, and I'm sure there's other people doing it, but I've been doing this model for years and years, and it's getting real popular right now. And I think that model allows you to not have a bunch of equipment, a bunch of staff, a bunch of overhead, but it has the ability to help anything that walks in your office and monetize it. I think that's the best clinic that there is.
It's amazing. I think that is becoming really popular. They call it the integrations of different things,
Right.
And I think that's a good way for a chiropractor not to kill themselves throughout the whole journey to get to $100,000 a month too.
Of course.
Well said. I think we were talking before the show. And one thing I think Dr. Ryan and us have in common is he's just beast mode into marketing and sales. And so I think we would be doing our listeners a disservice if we didn't talk a little bit of
Mm,
hyper tactical sales, lead management, that kind of stuff.
right.
And so you had mentioned like one of the strengths, one of the ways you built your practice was advertising and then really, really good lead follow up conversion, that kind of stuff.
Yes.
Including, getting people to pay up front, good show rates, that kind of stuff. What do you
Right.
feel like was kind of the secret? Because I think there is a lot of missed sauce on that. I think a lot of docs miss that
Mhm.
ball. They don't take it maybe as serious as they should, but you've obviously kind of taken the other end of the spectrum and taken it wickedly
Right.
seriously. So I mean,
Right.
what have you seen work? What are some best practices without giving away the whole farm, of course?
Well, so first off is if you want to build a busy practice fast, you have to be where everybody is. And where is everybody nowadays?
On the
Right
phone.
here. Okay. You have to be there. What is that? Social media. So you have to be there. Number one, we won't get into the specifics. Okay. That's for you, for them to reach out and talk to you about. But you have to have a very attractable offer. Okay. That's what I was talking about earlier.
That perfect timing for it too.
Okay. We have to have plenty of leads and we have to have a good marketer that we work with to send us those leads and to keep them rolling. And that is their job from there. And then up until there, or to that point, and then that's where we come in. And then that's where our job and responsibility picks up. Then we need to follow up with that lead. Studies have been done and you have to follow. I will get into a little specifics because it's kind of hard to not.
Of course.
Lead follow up needs to happen within 5 minutes, if not definitely 15 minutes. Okay. I tell my staff and everybody I've worked with, when somebody puts in a lead, guess what? They're on their phone. If you grab the phone and call them immediately, you're probably going to get them. And it's quite incredible when somebody puts in a lead and their phone rings 2 minutes later. Okay. That's
People
number
want that
one is
too. People want that. It's the Amazon world, right?
yes. That's what I tell everybody. We live in Amazon Prime lifestyle.
Yeah,
They
of
want it
course.
fast as possible, as efficiently as possible, and affordably as possible.
Hmm.
Okay. So if they get reached out to fast, it's also a priority, right? So chiropractors have to get out of their mind and they have to get into the psychology of the potential patient's mind and what is going on with them. They're motivated right then because they just put the lead in. If you contact them while they're still motivated, the likelihood of them coming in is much higher. So then we get them scheduled as fast as possible, not way out, but as fast as possible. Okay. Second thing is ensuring that they actually show. All right. And that is going to be getting them to pay over the phone. And a lot of offices have a huge problem with that. But number one, you have to understand it's becoming standard across the board. I had a tattoo removed. It was like, it wasn't special. It was like $250 for my first appointment. And I had to pay over the phone before I
Yeah.
even go in there. It's getting standard. The dental office, don't show to a dentist office nowadays. You're getting charged. Okay.
Hmm.
So there's a way to do that. All right. And there's a way to do it to not make it sound like sales or like you're bullying them or like it's a scam. You just have to talk to them and have the right things that you say over the phone that I won't get into. Okay. But it's very easy. It's a cakewalk if you do it correctly. But you have to stick firm into that to be able to ensure that show rate. Then that's hard. But the hardest part is after they get in, you got to be a good doctor. They have to want to come there. They got to think that you have the answer or know that you have the answer and that you're going to help them. But then you got to get them to the second day. And what a lot of offices have a problem with is they get them in for this special. They're like seeing everybody for this special and they're not converting them to regular care or a package or a whatever it is that they're selling or recommending to that patient. And so that system has to be perfect as well. And the language has to be perfect and so on and so forth. But I've built both of these clinics with social media, but I've told everybody I've worked with, just send me the leads. I'll handle the rest. I got all the systems. It's perfect. It's easy. It's a cakewalk. I just need the leads.
Hmm.
Okay. And if you're good at that and you're good at explaining to patients and some of those key points that I said, social media will explode your office, absolutely explode your office if the company is doing a good job of getting you the leads and having it marketed correctly and having a few automations and so on and so forth.
Brilliant. To be clear too, I think like you're totally right on the pay in advance.
Mhm.
I think it just puts skin in the game. You know what I mean? Like everyone's
100%.
everyone's always interested to get their wallet out, right? And so we'll see how interested you actually are when we ask you to take action. And if you take action, then you're going to show. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And you know what I
And
tell people? Guess what? If they didn't want to pay over the phone, they don't want to give you a credit card, they're probably going to no-show anyways.
Totally.
So
Totally,
what?
dude. Yeah,
Now,
100%.
we
Like,
make exceptions. Don't get me wrong. We make exceptions
of
sometimes.
course.
We have
Of
somebody
course.
on the phone. Well, I really don't want to do that. I'm driving, blah, blah. Okay, no problem. Okay.
Yeah.
We have some other things and some other systems where we can send out a link for payment and they can pay it that way instead of giving us their credit card over the phone that I show clients how to do with their EHR systems or their payment systems. And that'll ease their anxiety of paying over the phone and stuff. So you can like send them and text them a pay link with most chiropractic pay systems. Chiropractors don't even realize that. That's one thing that really helps offices. Things like that.
100%. Love that. Let's get. I want to go into some sauce real quick because
Okay.
I know you're the saucy kind of guy. I know I'm using that word a lot today, but I feel like that's just the theme of the day, right? We're giving away
Sure.
a lot of tactical stuff. So we always look at like lifetime value to cost of acquisition, right? And so like the reality is like we always want to lower the cost of acquisition. We want to raise LTVs. So here's what's
Right.
cool about what Ryan has been sharing with you guys that you may have not connected the dots on, right? Is that ad costs can only go one direction over time. They can only go up. Okay. And so what's Ryan's got going on is he's got this integrated clinic with chiropractic, he's got decompression, and he's got shockwave, laser, whatever you want to use there. And so now he can actually lower his CAC, cost of acquisition, because he has more ways for people to say yes. He's got 3 different
There you
services to
go.
say yes. Additionally, what else have you done? You've given opportunities to raise LTV. Because if cost of acquisition of ads can only go one direction, we also have to match that with LTV, right? And so that's how you can take all that stuff that he just said straight to the bank, and you can lower your cost of acquisition and make more profit from your existing patients. That's how it all pieces together.
Bingo. Bingo,
Bingo.
bingo.
That was it. So what about one last piece for it on the topic of marketing and sales, with a little sales? You had mentioned, I think in some of your work, that you have systems that help a chiropractor successfully remove themselves from the sale of
Yes.
care,
Okay.
right?
It's
And
very
again,
psychologically deep.
yes, for sure. And
Okay.
again, we got limited amount of time. We couldn't
I'll be
share the
quick.
whole. We could share the whole farm,
I'll be
but
quick.
we
Okay.
we, we want to talk about that a little bit.
The way to, okay, sales exist in chiropractic. There's no way to get around it. You have a sale is an exchange of a good or service for money. Okay. So people are always saying, oh, sales don't belong in chiropractic, blah, 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 blah. Well, it's part of your business. Get over it. Okay. However, there's that type of sales or selling. Okay. That is what I don't think belongs in chiropractic. And that's what all coaching is just sell, sell, sell. I take a different approach to be a good doctor, make a recommendation, and the sale will take care of itself. For example, if you go to the dentist looks at your mouth, he tells you what's wrong, he tells you what you need to do, and the nice lady up front tells you how much it costs, how much your insurance will cover. But chiropractors, we like want to be different. We want like, well, I want to go over this and I want to show them that and I want to sign them up and I want to go over their payments. And it's like, if you can be a chiropractor, but you can do what people are used to in other healthcare settings, you'll explode. So what happens is somebody comes into my office, I take a look at them, do their first treatment, then I make the recommendation on their second appointment. I recommend all the therapies, the do's, the don'ts, and then they go up front with my office manager and she goes over the frequency, the pricing, and everything else. And they either start care or they don't. And if they don't, hey, thanks for coming in. You just pay for your adjustment that day and we're here if you ever need us.
The abundance mentality on that last part, that shows that
Exactly what it
mentality
is.
is a result of having enough leads, though. Because if you don't have enough leads, you can't have that kind of abundance, like you said
No,
earlier,
you can't.
right?
You're practicing from a need, and you never
Totally.
want to practice from a need. You always want to practice out of abundance.
Well said. Well said. I love that. I like that. One thing that was kind of there's always some golden takeaways on these shows, but one of them that you said there was, if you can model the other frameworks that they're used to in
Right.
healthcare, it feels
Right.
like the same experience. They're used to this. It makes
Right.
sense.
But we don't want to be the same. That's why we're chiropractors. We don't want to be medical doctors and so on and so
Correct.
forth. But if you can do what they're used to, right? You don't go to the dentist and he doesn't go over your treatment plan and goes, would you like to prepay? Would you like to make payments? Would you like to, you'd be like sitting there in the chair with stuff in your mouth. You'd be like, like what? This is weird, right? So if you do the same thing in your chiropractic clinic, somebody comes in, you go, here's what I recommend. Okay. I recommend we do some decompression. We have our spinal adjustments that'll get the spine moving well. We'll open it up with decompression. Then we'll get those soft tissues to heal with soft wave. And up front, she'll show you how much that costs and how long and how often. But do you have any questions for me about my recommendations? No? Well, head up front. And if you want to do some of those treatments today, we can get started today.
Nice.
That's it.
Easy.
And then they go up front and you know what? They all start, all of them,
Yeah.
because it's what they're used to, and they don't feel like they went through a sales funnel, even though they kind of did. It's not really what it is. It's medical type model, but
Yeah.
that's what they're used to.
It's still an attraction model. The vehicle just happens to be delivering the goods of healthcare. You know what I mean? So
Bingo.
that's well said. Well said. I love it. I like
Now,
what we
I do want to say this. I
Yeah.
didn't learn that from any coaching company. I had a very bad low back injury when I was in chiro school, extreme. And I went to an interventional orthopedist that didn't believe in surgery. And he was incredible. His explanation was incredible. The way they ran the office was incredible. And I said, every chiropractic office needs to run like that. And so all the stuff like that I say and like how I run my office came from that office, actually.
As Jay
Not even
Abraham.
a chiropractic office.
Isn't that crazy?
Mm-hmm.
That might be one of, if you're listening to the show, I appreciate you as a listener, but you should also listen to other shows. You should listen to other shows that are not within chiropractic and learn from
Mm-hmm.
them. Jay Abraham always said, if you guys are familiar with Jay's work, he always said you got to look outside your industry to find the best ideas for your industry.
Mm-hmm.
So well said, my man. You've got a lot of work you do, and obviously within the community of chiropractic with your group, Apex Chiropractic Consulting. If somebody was listening to the show, where can we find you to take advantage of what you guys can
They could
offer?
just go to the website, www.apexchirocoaching.com. And I do a free initial coaching call where we can talk about whatever you want. We can talk about decomp, we can talk about systems, we can talk about hiring somebody, and there's no obligation to it. A lot of people, I could show you a couple of tips or tricks that would add 10 grand to your bottom line in a half-hour call. So that's what I do. And then if you want to roll, I run my clinic the same way. I'll show you what I can help you out with. If you want to roll, we'll roll. And same thing with coaching. I'll show you what I do. And if you want to roll, we'll roll. And that's why I don't do a contract, because I don't need to. And so that's really how it works.
Built on value exchange, my man. I love it.
Yes,
Well,
sir.
guys, we'll make sure to link out the website for you guys to check out. Feel free to go on there, book a call. You got any value, which I know you did. We'll also link out Dr. Ryan's social medias, LinkedIn, professional places, Facebook, Instagram, all that kind of stuff for you guys to follow Ryan and his journey in the show notes below. It's been a pleasure having you on here. I appreciate you delivering lots of value in 20 minutes, my
Appreciate
man.
you, brother. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. Always a pleasure. You guys, if you got value, quick reminder before you head out today. Pay the fee, hit that share button, share it with somebody you know. Today was hyper valuable in terms of tactical things you can implement tomorrow inside of your clinic. We'll see you guys on the next episode. As always, it's Jeff EK. Cheers.